Hello, my name is Jim. I live in Texas, and this is a YouTube video I'm calling Perfecting the Perfect Plan. This is a response to my YouTube friend Shaka Now's video on his perfect plan for beginning motorcyclists. I reference his video in the about box for this video. Shock had real good ideas. He's about 99% correct, but I thought I'd throw a few thoughts of my own into the mix to help perfect Shock's perfect plan. My first thought is we pretty much beat the Ninja 250 to death. Here I am on my Ninja 250 about to ride back to work. I think it's a great first motorcycle for the returning or beginning rider. We'll talk about other motorcycles here in a second. I did want to add one thought that was on my mind a lot, and Shock touched on this a little, and I want to emphasize it. Don't go into debt for your first bike. That's a big mistake. I was at a family reunion kind of function not too long ago, and a lady there told me that she had a Harley with 18 miles on it because apparently she bought it, rode it to the post office, and decided she didn't like it, and now it's just gathering dust. I don't know if she's making payments on it or not, but either way, that's a financial disaster. Now, if you got money to burn, you still should buy a smaller motorcycle, because even if you do buy that Road King or that Hayabusa, you'll probably kill yourself, and then your money won't do you any good. So, we talked a lot in my last video and in Shock's videos on this subject about the Ninja 250, like I'm riding here, as being a really good beginner's bike. I did get some comments from people who are heavier people, like I am, and concerned about the amount of top-end performance these bikes have. It's pretty respectable considering it's 250 cc's and 25 horsepower, but it is a fact that when you get to 70 miles an hour, you've still got 20 or 30 miles an hour to go, but it's a little while to get there. I'm thinking about driving to West Texas on I-10 where the speed limit's 80, and I'm sure that'd be a little scary because while my bike will go 80, if somebody comes up behind me, it'll be a while till I get up to 90, and that portion might run over me. So for long distance commuting on high-speed roads, I agree with other people who suggested that 250 is on the smaller side, particularly if you're a heavier person like I am. Another bike to consider would be this one, the Ninja 500. Ergonomically, it's almost identical to the 250. It's a little bit larger. It uses 17-inch wheels instead of 16-inch. It's got bags of performance, plenty of performance for anything you want to do. It's about $1,000 to $1,200 more than a Ninja 250, and it's just as good. They're not nearly as common. They still make them. Suppose you like cruisers rather than the sporty kind of bike. That's fine too. Kawasaki also makes the Vulcan 500 you see here. This is basically the same motor in a cruiser style configuration. It's a real nice bike. Not many accessories available for this, but I'll tell you what, if a Sportster had doors, if a Harley Sportster had doors, this would blow the doors off. I test drove a Sportster 1200 the other day, and that Sportster had only a little more performance than my Ninja 250. I'm sure a 500cc Kawasaki, either the cruiser or sports style, would blow the doors off of it. And you're still talking quite a bit less money than even a used Ninja 650 or similar motorcycle. So consider those 500cc motorcycles. They're not quite as popular as the 250s or the 650s, but they occupy a nice price point. Certainly worth considering. Now, a couple of downsides to riding a motorcycle. This is me commuting home, and this is not a heavy traffic day at all. It's 100 degrees, but for whatever reason, maybe because school's out, the traffic's not too bad. But it can be stressful commuting. I only commute 1 or 2 days a week, and I find that's kind of enough. This particular stretch is pretty stressful getting on this highway. Not today because the traffic's not heavy, but when the traffic's real heavy and it's real hot, I'd say my fun meter doesn't exactly peg doing this. I've noticed 3 kinds of riders out there. There's all kinds. There's a million different kinds, but there's 3 big groups that I can identify. The first one is my group, the Power Ranger, and I learned about Power Rangers when I went to a group ride, and a Harley guy called me a Power Ranger because if you saw that first slide I used, I'm wearing a helmet, I'm wearing a padded jacket, I'm wearing pants, I'm wearing boots, and he thought I looked like a Power Ranger. Well, I thought he looked like a pirate with his do-rag and his, cut off jeans, and cut off, denim shirt and tattoos and everything, and a earring. I expected him to say, "Arr, matey," at any time. I think that although he's certainly a lot scarier looking than I am, I don't know if we both go down and go rolling down this highway, I don't know who'll be more scary looking at the end. The third group of motorcycles that I don't recommend you join is called squids. That stands for super quick, imminently dead. And those are the 22-year-old guys you see. They're wearing a full coverage helmet, but they're basically naked other than that. They're wearing shorts and a t-shirt and flip-flops. And they're riding a motorcycle that's 650 to 1,000 cc's that can go anywhere from 130 to 200 miles an hour. And they're riding it like there's no tomorrow because they're 22 and they think they're invincible. Not a good plan. You know, experience is the hardest teacher because you get the test first and then the lesson. You know, and I see my squid friends roaring down the highway. I worry that they're going to fail the test before they learn the lesson. Take your hand. One friend of mine suggested this. If you don't think that you need to wear gloves and a jacket and a helmet and long pants anyway when you're riding your motorcycle, even in the hot Texas summer, just stop your bike, put your palm of your hand on the pavement and just put your weight on it, and then scrape that pavement with your flat palm as hard as you can, and then ask yourself, how does my palm feel? And it'll feel a lot worse if you come off your bike at any speed at all. I mentioned a few safety considerations that I use. Shockman has mentioned this and others have. Notice I'm keeping a well behind the car in front of me. I like to have a lot of space around me. You can't always do it, but you have to remember that any of these cars can squash you like a bug. Even a Honda Fit or a smart car, let alone an SUV or a Peterbilt. Any of those cars can kill you with a flick of their wrist. No question about it. So you want to try to stay away from it as best you can and anticipate their movements. Any entrance onto the road you're on, any driveway, is a potential source of a murderer pulling out and killing you. And you have to keep this in mind all the time. It has to become part of your automatic thinking. If it doesn't, then you'll get a test and you might not pass it, and then you won't have a chance to learn the lesson. Here's an illustration of a technique that I use that someone suggested. I haven't heard it too many places. I'm pulling up behind this car in heavy traffic, and notice I've pointed my motorcycle sort of at the gap between the two lines of cars. The reason I've done this is because if I am rear-ended, I don't want to just hit the Audi's license plate and go Superman over his hood and have him run over me and break whatever bones aren't already broken. Getting hit from behind happens to motorcycles. I think it happens at night a lot, and even in the daytime. And if you just fly right into the center of the trunk in front of you, you're going to do a Superman thing, and it's not going to be pretty when it's over. Here I am turning west on Andersonville Boulevard Andersonville Road in Texas. Austin, Texas. And the sun's going down, and it's now frying my brain. Distractions are really, really a problem. You've got to fight against them when you're on the motorcycle. You have to stay in the moment and wired into what's happening right now. When you get the sun burning your retinas, it's easy to miss that car pulling out of a driveway, or that piece of lumber on the road, or the blonde lady in the Escapade who's talking on the cell phone and drifting into your lane. I haven't figured out the exact solution. See the sun there just frying me? Got to watch out for that. There's some fixes, but it's an issue. You got something. One more thing, you got to have discipline in your thinking. Well, thankfully, I'm on my street, and if I survive the one block I've got left, if nobody pulls out of one of these driveways and kills me, then I'll have made a successful commute. Don't want to discourage you from biking, but you've got to have a realistic appreciation of the danger so that when the test comes, that you live to pass it. And tell your friends like I do, hey, you ought to get a motorcycle. And that's this video. Thank you so much for listening. Thanks, Shock, for giving the video that inspired me to make this one. And I'm home.